The arrival. The sprawling orbital stations around Earth glittered like jewels against the velvet backdrop of space. For 70 years, humanity had enjoyed an unprecedented era of peace. Wars were relegated to history books. Global cooperation had replaced competition, and prosperity flowed across the once divided planet. The Earth Alliance, formed after the devastating resource wars of the 2090s, had unified the planet under a single democratic government focused on exploration rather than exploitation. Captain Maya Santiago stood at the viewport of Orbital Command Station Harmony, watching Earth turn slowly beneath her. At 42, she had spent most of her career in the Earth Defense Force as a ceremonial officer, training for conflicts that never came. The fighting edge that had defined humanity for millennia had dulled through generations of peace, or so most of the galaxy believed. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up something unusual. Lieutenant Riza Khan's voice pulled her from her thoughts. Multiple objects decelerating from FTL at the edge of our solar system. Maya's posture shifted subtly, a soldier's instinct awakening after years of dormancy. Identification. Unknown configuration, Captain. They're not broadcasting any recognized identification signals. Maya tapped her neural interface, bringing up a tactical display in her field of vision. 7 massive objects, each easily dwarfing the largest Earth vessel, were approaching in a precise formation. Alert status, she ordered, her voice calm but commanding. Notify the Alliance Council immediately. Within minutes, the unknown vessels had accelerated toward Earth at speeds that defied the Alliance's understanding of propulsion technology. They decelerated abruptly, taking position in high orbit above major population centers around the globe. The largest ship positioned itself directly over New Geneva, the seat of the Earth Alliance government. They're broadcasting, Captain, Khan reported. All frequencies, all languages. The message appeared on screens across the station, across the planet, and in every citizen's neural interface. People of Earth, we are the Caraxi Dominion. Your planet occupies strategic space within our expansion zone. Your surrender is expected within 12 standard hours. Resistance will result in planetary sterilization. This is not a negotiation. Maya's eyes narrowed. The Caraxi, a species humanity had never encountered before, had made a fundamental miscalculation. Alliance President Eleanor Chen's face appeared on a secure channel. Captain Santiago, assemble the Defense Council. We need options. In the secure chambers beneath New Geneva, Maya stood before the assembled leaders of Earth. The room hummed with tension as holographic displays showed the Caraxi vessels looming above Earth's cities. They've miscalculated, Maya stated flatly. They see our peaceful society and assume we're defenseless. Admiral Takashi Himura, the oldest serving officer in the Earth Defense Force, nodded grimly. They wouldn't be the first to make that mistake. President Chen looked around the table. What are our options? We could surrender, suggested Diplomatic Minister Abbas, though his tone made clear he didn't favor this approach. Buy time while we evacuate our colonies. Maya shook her head. The Caraxi don't strike me as the type to honor terms. They show no interest in diplomacy. Then we fight, Admiral Himura said, his weathered face set in determination. Activate Protocol Sleeping Giant. A ripple of whispers circled the table. Protocol Sleeping Giant was the Earth Alliance's most closely guarded secret, a military capability hidden from the galaxy for decades. President Chen's expression hardened. Will it be enough, Admiral? It has to be, Maya interjected. Permission to take command of the Artemis Battle Group, Madam President. Chen studied the captain's face. Maya Santiago had never commanded in actual combat. No one alive had, but her simulation scores were unmatched, and her understanding of theoretical combat was unparalleled. Granted, Captain. You've studied the old wars more than anyone. It's time to put that knowledge to use. Within hours, Maya stood on the bridge of the EA's Indomitable, the largest vessel in Earth's peacekeeping fleet. To casual observers, Earth maintained only a token defense force, a few dozen ships that served primarily as exploration vessels and diplomatic escorts. What the galaxy didn't know was that each vessel contained military technology far beyond what Earth publicly acknowledged. All ships reporting ready, Captain. Commander Lionway announced from the tactical station. Sleeping giant protocols activated. Around the Earth, disguised defense platforms began powering up systems that had lain dormant for decades. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt launched vessels that had been constructed in secret. From lunar bases emerged fighter squadrons that officially didn't exist. Open a secure channel to the fleet, Maya ordered. The faces of 23 ship captains appeared on her display, men and women trained for a war everyone hoped would never come. The Caraxi have mistaken our peace for weakness, Maya began, her voice steady. They believe that because we choose not to fight, we've forgotten how. They're about to learn a costly lesson. She pulled up tactical displays, showing the positions of the 7 Caraxi vessels. Our initial scans show their ships are heavily armed, but designed for intimidation rather than maneuverability. They rely on overwhelming firepower and advanced shields. We'll use that against them. Maya outlined a battle plan that made several officers raise their eyebrows. It was unorthodox, drawing on historical Earth conflicts from centuries past, guerrilla tactics adapted for space warfare. This isn't a conventional space battle, she concluded. This is humanity fighting for survival. We've done it before, and we remember how. As the 12-hour deadline approached, Maya sent a message to the Caraxi flagship. This is Captain Maya Santiago of the Earth Alliance. We decline your generous offer of surrender. You came to our home uninvited, threatened our people, and demanded our submission. Your actions have awakened something you don't understand. You threatened Earth's peace. Now you'll learn about our war. The response was immediate. A massive energy surge from the Caraxi vessels as weapon systems charged. All ships, execute Thermopylae formation, Maya ordered, feeling a strange calm settle over her. This was the moment humanity had prepared for while praying it would never come. The Earth fleet, previously appearing scattered and disorganized, suddenly moved with precision that caught the Caraxi off guard. What had seemed like a token resistance was transforming before their eyes into a coordinated fighting force. The first Caraxi shot, a devastating plasma lance aimed at the heart of New Geneva, never reached its target. A previously invisible energy shield flared to life around Earth, absorbing the attack. Return fire, Maya commanded. Targeted strikes only. We're not barbarians. Earth's ships launched a coordinated attack on the smallest Caraxi vessel, concentrating fire on specific points identified as potential weaknesses. The alien vessel's shields held initially, but began to fluctuate under the precision barrage. On the Caraxi command ship, Supreme Commander Vax Ther watched with growing concern as the supposedly peaceful humans mounted an unexpectedly organized defense. Supreme Commander, his tactical officer reported, the human vessels are employing coordinated attack patterns. Their technology is more advanced than our intelligence suggested. Vax Ther's 4 eyes narrowed. Impossible. Our scouts reported minimal defensive capabilities. No standing military. The reports were incomplete, the tactical officer admitted. They're targeting shield junction points with remarkable precision. As if to emphasize this point, alarms blared as the smallest ship in the Caraxi fleet reported critical shield failures. All vessels, concentrate fire on their largest ship, Vax Ther ordered. Show them the consequence of defiance. The Caraxi fleet redirected their formidable weapons toward the Indomitable. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes converged on Maya's vessel. Evasive pattern Delta, Maya ordered calmly. Activate countermeasures. The Indomitable moved with startling agility for its size, rolling and pitching to present the smallest possible target profile. Decoy drones launched from its hull, creating multiple sensor signatures that confused the Caraxi targeting systems. Most of the Caraxi attack missed, but one plasma torpedo struck the Indomitable's port section. The ship shuddered, but its reinforced hull held. "Damage report," Maya demanded. "Minor damage to outer hull plating," reported Commander Wei. "No casualties. Shield generators holding at 82%. Maya nodded, studying the tactical display. The Caraxi still held the technological advantage, but their tactics were predictable, relying on overwhelming force rather than strategy. "All ships, execute maneuver Horatius," she ordered. The Earth fleet split into 3 distinct attack groups, each targeting a different Caraxi vessel. The maneuver, named after an ancient Roman who had held a bridge against overwhelming odds, was designed to divide the aliens' attention and prevent them from concentrating their superior firepower. As the battle intensified, Maya received an urgent communication from Admiral Himura at Lunar Command. "Phase 2 is ready, Captain," the Admiral informed her. "Awaiting your order." Maya glanced at the tactical display. The Earth fleet was holding its own, but couldn't maintain this pace indefinitely against the Caraxi's superior numbers and firepower. "Execute Phase 2, she commanded. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations activated. From Mars, Jupiter's moons, and bases scattered through the asteroid belt, hundreds of autonomous combat drones launched, converging on the battle at incredible speeds. The Caraxi, focused on the Earth fleet, didn't detect the approaching drones until they were already among them, targeting weapon emplacements and communication arrays with surgical precision. As the first part of the battle drew to its climax, Maya opened a channel to Vaxther. "This is your only warning," she stated, her voice devoid of emotion. "Withdraw your forces immediately, or face destruction." Vaxther's alien features contorted in what might have been rage. "You dare threaten the Caraxi Dominion. Your species is young and foolish. We have conquered 100 worlds. Then this will be a new experience for you," Maya replied coolly. "You have 1 hour to withdraw." As she cut the transmission, Maya turned to her bridge crew. "All ships, prepare for Phase 3. The real battle begins now." The revelation. Supreme Commander Vaxther paced the command deck of the Caraxi flagship, Inevitable Conquest. What had begun as a routine expansion operation was rapidly deteriorating into something unprecedented. 3 of his 7 vessels now reported significant damage, and the smallest, unwavering dominance, had been forced to retreat to a higher orbit after losing primary weapons control. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his science officer, Melkor. "Your intelligence reports described the humans as a peaceful species that had abandoned warfare generations ago." Melkor's 4-fingered hands danced across holographic displays, analyzing combat data in real time. "Commander, I believe we may have misinterpreted their history. They haven't abandoned warfare. They've mastered it, and then chosen not to use it." On the tactical display, the human vessels continued their coordinated attacks, now supported by swarms of combat drones that seemed to appear from nowhere. The drones were individually insignificant, but their coordinated movements suggested an intelligence guiding them that Vaxther found deeply unsettling. "These humans," Melkor continued, "their historical records show centuries of continuous warfare against themselves before their unification. They'd fought more battles against worthy opponents than any species we encountered. Themselves." Vaxther's voice carried disbelief. "They'd waged war against their own kind. For millennia, Commander. Their tactics show evolution, adaptation. They're drawing on combat experiences from their past and applying them in ways we haven't anticipated." A violent shudder ran through the Inevitable Conquest as precision strikes from 3 human vessels concentrated on a single shield generator. "Shield 4 is failing," reported the tactical officer. "They're targeting our weak points systematically." For the first time in his distinguished career, Vaxther felt the cold touch of uncertainty. The Caraxi Dominion had expanded across 12 star systems through intimidation and overwhelming force. Never had they encountered resistance of this caliber. "All vessels," he commanded, "concentrate fire on their command ship. If we eliminate their leader, their coordination will falter." Aboard the Indomitable, Maya felt the ship rock as multiple Caraxi weapons converged on her vessel. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as shields struggled to compensate. Shield capacity at 47% and dropping. Commander Wei reported, her voice steady despite the situation. They've identified us as the command vessel. Maya nodded, unsurprised. Just as we anticipated. Execute deception protocol. Across the Earth fleet, command signatures began broadcasting from multiple ships, creating the electronic illusion that each vessel was the fleet flagship. The Caraxi weapons, programmed to target command signals, suddenly found themselves with too many priorities. Clever. Admiral Himura's voice came through on a secure channel from Lunar Command, using their own targeting algorithms against them. An old trick, Maya replied, watching as the Caraxi fire became scattered and ineffective. Sometimes the ancient strategies work best. She turned to Commander Wei. Status of Phase 3 preparations. Ready on your command, Captain. Maya studied the tactical display one final time. The Caraxi still held the advantage in raw firepower, but their formation was breaking down as Earth's forces pressed the attack from multiple vectors. Execute Phase 3, she ordered. All ships, converging attack pattern Phoenix. The scattered Earth fleet suddenly reversed course, converging toward a single point, directly between the Caraxi flagship and Earth. To an observer, it would appear suicidal, concentrating Earth's forces directly in front of the enemy's most powerful weapons. On the inevitable conquest, Vaxther watched the human maneuver with confusion that quickly transformed into predatory anticipation. They're making a critical error, he announced to his command staff. Concentrate all firepower on that position. We'll destroy their fleet in a single strike. As the Caraxi weapons charged, the space between the opposing fleets began to shimmer. Energy readings off the scale, reported Melkor, his voice rising in alarm. Commander, something is happening. The shimmer intensified, coalescing into what appeared to be a spatial distortion. The human fleet, rather than being destroyed by the gathering point, seemed to be feeding energy into it. What is this? Vaxthar demanded. Unknown technology, Melkor replied, his voice hushed with something approaching awe. They're creating some kind of gravitational lens. The Caraxi weapons discharged simultaneously, a devastating barrage that should have annihilated anything in its path. Instead, the energy beams struck the distortion and bent, redirected back toward the Caraxi fleet with even greater intensity. 3 Caraxi vessels, caught in their own reflected firepower, suffered catastrophic shield failures. Emergency systems activated, but not before significant damage had been inflicted on their weapon systems and propulsion. Vaxther stared in disbelief as his own attack was turned against him. Impossible. It's a modified Einstein-Rosen bridge, Melkor explained, his scientific curiosity momentarily overriding his fear. They've weaponized a wormhole variant. Commander, this technology is beyond our current understanding. Before Vaxther could respond, Maya's voice came through on all frequencies. Caraxi vessels, your attack has failed. 4 of your ships are crippled, and the others are surrounded. I am offering you one final opportunity to surrender. Rage coursed through Vaxther's bioluminescent blood. Never in the history of the Caraxi Dominion had a commander surrendered. He would rather die then. Another explosion rocked the flagship as Earth forces executed yet another coordinated strike. Warning indicators flashed across the command deck as critical systems began to fail. Commander, the tactical officer's voice was strained. We've lost engines 2 and 3. Weapons are operating at 40% capacity. The human vessels are positioning for another attack. Vaxther felt the weight of his ancestors' judgment as he considered options that no Caraxi commander had ever faced. Pride demanded continuing the fight to the bitter end. Logic suggested another path. Open a channel, he finally ordered. Maya's face appeared on the view screen, her expression betraying neither triumph nor anger, only the focused determination of a soldier completing her mission. This is Captain Santiago. Captain, Vax there began, forcing composure into his voice. The Caraxi Dominion acknowledges your unexpected capabilities. I propose a cessation of hostilities to discuss terms. A slight smile touched Maya's lips. You mean surrender, Commander. Let's not hide behind diplomatic language. Your fleet is defeated, and we both know it. Pride fought with survival instinct within Vaxther's four-chambered heart. We accept your terms, he finally managed. Power down your weapons and prepare to receive boarding parties, Maya instructed. Earth Alliance personnel will ensure your compliance and attend to your wounded. As the transmission ended, Vaxther turned to his science officer. How did we misjudge them so completely? Melkor's analysis was somber. We saw what we expected to see, Commander. A species that had achieved peace must have grown soft, forgotten the art of war. Instead, they had simply mastered war so thoroughly they no longer needed to practice it openly. In the aftermath of the battle, Maya stood in a conference room aboard the Indomitable, facing Vaxther across a table. The Caraxi commander's imposing frame seemed somehow diminished by defeat, though he maintained his dignity. You could have destroyed us, Vaxther observed. Why didn't you? Because that's not who we choose to be, Maya replied simply. Humanity learned through centuries of bloodshed that victory at any cost isn't victory at all. She activated a holographic display showing Earth's history, the devastating world wars, the resource conflicts, the brutal civil wars that had nearly destroyed human civilization before its unification. We didn't forget how to fight, Commander. We remember all too well. Every strategy we used against you was born from our own blood-soaked history. The difference is that we learned something your species hasn't yet discovered. And what is that? Vaxther asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. That true strength lies not in conquering others, but in mastering ourselves. We maintain our capacity for war precisely so we can preserve our peace. President Chen entered the conference room, flanked by Admiral Himura and a delegation of Earth Alliance officials. The president's gaze swept over the defeated Caraxi commander, showing neither contempt nor mercy, only the measured evaluation of a leader protecting her people. Supreme Commander Vaxther, she began formally. The terms of your surrender are simple. You will return to your territory and deliver a message to the Caraxi Dominion. Earth and its colonies are not to be threatened again. Vaxther's pride reasserted itself, and if the Dominion rejects these terms, President Chen's expression remained unchanged, but her voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. Then what you experienced today was merely a demonstration. Earth desires peace, Commander, but make no mistake, we remember war. We've simply chosen to set it aside until needed. Admiral Himura stepped forward, offering a data crystal to the alien commander. This contains detailed analyses of your fleet's tactical weaknesses, which we identified within the first hour of engagement. Consider it a gesture of good faith and a reminder. Vaxther accepted the crystal with a mixture of humiliation and dawning respect. You are not what we expected, humans. No species ever is, Maya replied. That's a lesson worth learning. As the Caraxi fleet departed Earth orbit under escort, Maya returned to the viewport where the crisis had begun, watching her planet turn serenely below. Humanity had been tested and had prevailed, not through brutality but through the disciplined application of force, violence tempered by wisdom. Admiral Himura joined her at the viewport, his weathered face reflecting the stars. You handled yourself well, Captain. Your ancestors would be proud. Maya's expression remained thoughtful. I hope we didn't just start something we'll regret, Admiral. The Caraxi won't forget this defeat. No, the Admiral agreed, but neither will they forget the mercy that followed it. Sometimes the most important lesson of war is knowing when to end it. On the departing flagship, Vaxther stood alone in his private chamber, replaying the battle simulations and studying the data crystal the humans had provided. The weaknesses they had identified were subtle, flaws that had never been exploited because no previous opponent had possessed the martial insight to recognize them. "Computer," he commanded, "begin transmission to the Dominion High Council." As he prepared his report, Vaxther struggled to articulate the most important discovery of his military career. That true strength might not lie in the ability to conquer, but in the wisdom to choose peace while maintaining the capability for war. The humans had taught him something no Caraxi had ever considered, that peace was not the absence of strength, but its ultimate expression. It was a lesson the Dominion would find difficult to accept, but one Vaxther now understood was essential for their survival in a galaxy more complex than they had imagined. As Earth receded behind him, Vaxther made a private vow to ensure that the Caraxi never again mistook peace for weakness, especially when it came to humans.